Okay, so once again, our first step is to get all of our materials out. The first thing I have is a shop ticket with a reference picture. So for this week's lesson, we're going to be working off of a photograph. Try to get it slightly less shiny there. A photograph from Monet's garden. In real life, he did thousands of paintings of this bridge and this lily pond and this garden. So we have a couple options here. We've got some watercolor paper. We've got a watercolor palette. I stole this from my daughter. It was from the Dollar Tree. And some watercolor pencils. Again, from the Dollar Tree and stolen from my daughter because she had them more readily available than I did. All right, let's get to work. All right, I'm going to call that a stopping point. So I took this drawing here, which I threw in a shop ticket, and it is a chaotic mess. This is a huge lesson for the kids in editing and trying to dissect the cacophony of colors and movement and objects and not getting bogged down by little individual things. I don't want to see one leaf being drawn, basically. Instead, lay down broad strokes of color. Let me see if I can get both of these like kind of in the same shot. See, I'm never going to get this drawing to look like this, but I can take notes from looking at this onto here and kind of put down broad strokes of color, and I can get the feeling of this. This is an impressionist painting, right? It's painting the light. It's getting a sense of the color and the movement without drawing everything individually in hyper-realism. So I'm doing things in the watercolor pencils, and I'm just kind of doing little dashes and things because none of the marks I'm making will probably show up by the end of it. It's all going to turn into a watercolor blotchy mess, which is good. That's the point. And the blotchier, the better. And don't, discourage that when you see it in the kids' work because, hey, Monet lost his sight and his late work was incredibly blotchy. It looks like what happens when I take my glasses off. So let's see how this goes. Okay, I think I have laid down enough color that I am ready to add some water, and we'll see what needs to happen from there. Okay, so this is after a few minutes of just kind of letting the water blotch all over the place. And then I did go back in with some of the watercolor palette where it was still just too light. Now I think I'm going to go back and try to work on light and shadow and go from there. All right, I am not a big fan of watercolors in general, but I am going to call that done because I think that is probably as much time or slightly more time than the kids are going to get. So look, hey, it kind of looks like a bridge over some water with some trees and flowers. So good enough.